Hello, everyone, and welcome to my preview for the March 24th edition of AEW Dynamite. I am, of course, your host, Ms Dynamite herself, Stephanie Chase, and I'm going to be running you through the card of the matches already announced, giving you a bit of background, insight, and maybe even some predictions. We are coming off another great edition of AEW Dynamite last week. It was the St. Patrick's Day Slam. By the way, did you catch my pre-show with Alex McCarthy?
So I actually have, I suppose you would traditionally say a JD and Coke, but it is a proper 12 and Coke.
Oh my gosh.
Conor McGregor's whiskey.
Anyway, we had the introduction of MJF's new faction, who we now know are called the Pinnacle, but we also had an incredible, groundbreaking, shall I say, lights out main event between Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. And this week, the card is absolutely stacked. So stacked that I don't even know what order they're possibly going to put these matches in. But before we get to that, a little bit of housekeeping. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also share it on social media so everyone can enjoy it. And if you, like me, love AEW, don't forget to tune in live here on this channel every Friday for AEW Weekly at 11:30 p.m. UK time, where we fully match by match, segment by segment, angle by angle, break down Dynamite and talk about everything we loved about the show, give our takes, give our opinions, look at storylines, where things might be going. It's a really great time and it's very interactive. So if you can, join me here live on a Friday night. So let's get into this week's Dynamite. As I said, we have a completely stacked card. And the first match I want to talk about is Conti versus Nyla Rose. Now, should we talk about how the WWE Performance Center just totally fails some people? That's a whole other video. But what I really want to say is how incredible I think Conti is. She has improved so much. She improves every time you see her. She is working so hard, and she is such a great member of the AEW women's roster, and one who, like, her potential hasn't even been like a quarter tapped into yet. So I'm very excited to see Ty get such a great big match on Dynamite against a former women's champion in Nyla Rose. Now, this is a rematch from the first round of the women's eliminator tournament, which Ty lost. It's also a rematch from a match they had in September 2020, which Ty also lost. But I think that I hope that Ty is going to win here tonight. She's been doing such great work. She was on Elevation just the other day, looking incredible. I think that Conti, her and Anna Jay were such a great team together, and you could just feel the real life love between them, which is always awesome to have in a tag team. But unfortunately, Anna Jay is injured, and I think now is the time for Ty to really step into the spotlight. So Conti versus Nyla Rose, I hope it is a win for Conti, and we see her move on to even bigger and better things and more weekly spots on Dynamite. Next, we have the Pinnacle. Yes, the new faction led by MJF, while three of its members, FTR and Sean Spears, are going to be taking on the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin. Dante Martin is, of course, one half of Top Flight, but his brother Darius is currently injured. So it's really nice to see that they are giving him a spot here so he can keep on working even though his brother's out. But let's talk about the Pinnacle. Okay, 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, MJF, he shocked everyone when he unveiled his new faction. Yeah, we knew he was going to turn on Jericho, but we didn't think that he was building his own faction with FTR, Sean Spears, and Wardlow. So this week on Dynamite, we are going to see three members of that team in action together for the first time as part of the Pinnacle. Will we see MJF and Wardlow at ringside? Maybe. You would think he'd want to be there for his faction making their debut. Of course, there's also Tully Blanchard, who will definitely be there at ringside. FTR are a fantastic tag team. Everyone knows that. Here they are teaming with Sean Spears, a guy who hasn't really found himself, I would say, in AEW yet. But putting him in the Pinnacle, I think, is a great, great move, because he can he's now a part of something. You know, he was with Tully Blanchard before that whole storyline kind of started. He felt really like he was going nowhere. But this is a chance for him to have a fresh start, and teaming him with FTR like this, who better to learn from than FTR? You've also got Tully on the mic. You've got MJF on the mic. Wardlow's there. We don't need to say anything about Wardlow, the absolute future of AEW. But I think this match will be very interesting to see how FTR and Shawn Spears work together. It's not going to be, you know, there's going to be no tension in this match between FTR and Shawn Spears. Like, there's no doubt that they can work together. Of course they can. MJF has been building this up in secret for so long. These guys all have each other's back. But also, this is a great spot to put the Varsity Blondes in. They're one of those great dark teams that we see racking up great matches over there. They've had a few big moments on Dynamite. They've been in the ring with Jericho, but this is another chance for them to show what they can do. They are one of those AEW slow burn tag teams that we're building up on Dark, we're building up on Elevation, and they get these little spots on Dynamite. And I think that's really great. I think it's going to be a really good match. Putting Martin in there, great little addition for a bit more of like high flying, because, you know, FTR, they have a real problem with the high flyers. But I think this match will be great. The winner, it's an easy one to predict. The Pinnacle are going to win this match, get their first kind of group victory, and I'm sure we'll probably get maybe another promo by MJF afterwards. I don't know if this is the time for Jericho to turn up yet, or if he wants to sell this for a couple more weeks. I wouldn't mind either way, but I think when Jericho returns, he needs to make a really big impact. So maybe it's too early, but it depends what they do. There's definitely a way to make that work, and I don't think he's someone that you want to keep off TV for too long. But yeah, exciting match. It's going to be great to see the Pinnacle in action for the first time, and I think they're getting the win. Next, it's a match which feels like it's made for Steph. Okay, this is exactly what Steph wants to see. It is Darby Allin, TNT champion, taking on the Dark Order's John Silver. Now, this match came about when on last week's Dynamite, Darby Allin said that he wanted to pay tribute to great TNT champion Brody Lee and give a member of the Dark Order a title shot. The guy who was picked, the guy that stepped up to the plate, was John Silver, the absolute hero of being elite. And speaking of being elite, we saw in this week's show some funny segments of John Silver preparing for his match with Darby Allin, you know, seeing if he could drag around a body bag. And that's just what I love about John Silver and what makes the Dark Order so great. They are so great on their being the elite sketches, but then when you see them on Dynamite in front of an audience that don't necessarily watch being the elite, they so easily convey what it is that makes them so great on that show. So I'm so glad that John Silver is getting this big opportunity. I don't expect him to win because Darby, he hasn't had a chance to defend that TNT championship much. He hasn't really got to be much of a champion because he was embroiled in the whole Sting and Team Taz feud. But now that match has happened, and it's great to see him defending this belt even more. It is the TNT championship. It should be defended on TV most weeks, and it's cool to see the guys that he can give a shot to. John Silver is definitely a guy who deserves a shot. Now isn't his time to win, but I think John Silver, absolutely future TNT champion. I think it would be a bit of a misstep not to ever give one of the guys from the Dark Order, especially him, you know, a title and a bigger push on Dynamite. But I think this match will be great. John Silver, don't be fooled by how good he is as a comedian, actor, promo, whatever. He is fantastic in the ring too. It's just those being the elite sketches that got him over, but watch him in the ring, he's great. Darby is so, that match Darby had with Scorpio Sky a couple of weeks ago, he is so creative with the spots that he can come up with that I am sure he has thought of some epically cool stuff he can do with John Silver. Now, as for Team Taz, it felt last week like the Team Taz stuff might not be over, or maybe it's just moved on to infighting between Brian Cage and the rest of the members because Brian Cage wants to show respect to Sting and the rest of them don't. So I don't think we're going to get any Team Taz interference. I'm not really sure where the whole Team Taz, Sting, Darby, Lance Archer thing is going to break off and go for each individual person. But right now, I'm happy to see Darby Allin defending that TNT championship, giving shots to guys who deserve it, guys that I want to see more of in great matches. And I am so happy that John Silver is stepping up to the plate. Go, John Silver. Follow the Dark Order. Next, we have a match that was set up on the first episode of Dark Elevation. Have you guys been watching Elevation on YouTube? It's a really great show, and I very much enjoyed in the first episode how they integrated the main storylines that are going on, including having this appearance from Kenny Omega. So this match is Kenny Omega versus Matt Seidel. If Matt Seidel can get the win, then he gets a shot at the AEW championship. So on Elevation 2 weeks ago, Kenny Omega told Matt Seidel that if he beat Michael Nakazawa, he would get a match with him. So Matt Seidel beat Nakazawa. Then Kenny came into the ring and was like, you can have your match now, and basically pinned him within seconds. Then Tony Khan came out and was like, no, Kenny, you're not getting away with that. Not on Elevation. So Tony Khan made this match because he gave Matt Seidel a week to get ready for it. So yes, if Matt wins, then he gets his actual title shot. This is not a match that I expect Matt Seidel to win because you can't pin Kenny Omega right now. This guy's on an incredible run. He is the what would you call it? The guy that's steamrolling through the company, you know. So I don't expect that to happen. I expect Matt Seidel to put up a good fight, to look very impressive in this match. I think Kenny will give him a lot, but ultimately Kenny Omega, the winner. Then after that, let's see what happens, because last week we had the whole Young Bucks thing. They seem to be, you know, finally just like totally against the Good Brothers and Omega. There is, of course, Eddie Kingston and John Moxley still scores to settle there. So I think we're getting a good match and an angle afterwards on this one. And finally, I mean, who knows what match they're putting on last on this card, because as I said, it's really, really stacked. We have the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler taking on Penta, Phoenix, and Laredo Kid. Firstly, I am so excited to see Laredo Kid on Dynamite. I think that's epically cool. He did appear at Fyter Fest 2019, but we haven't seen him since then. So awesome news. I know he's in as a replacement for Pac, who has a bit of an injury at the minute, but I am very, very happy to see Laredo Kid. And the last time I watched a Laredo Kid match was the match he had with Kenny Omega at Triple Mania late last year. That was one of my top 10 matches of 2020. So I think he's incredible, and it's great how AEW are able to bring in talent like this and surprise us and just give the fans an incredible match. So Young Bucks teaming with Brandon Cutler, I like that as well. Brandon Cutler, he has proven himself in recent months to be the best friend you could possibly have. Like, this guy always has the Young Bucks back. He's not just following them around with a camera. He actually has their back. So I think it's nice to see him get a spot on Dynamite as well. As for what's going to happen in this match, all I can say is incredible action. I mean, you have Penta and Phoenix, Penta and Phoenix, should they be a tag team? Shouldn't they be a tag team? They should be both tag team and single stars, because they are both absolutely incredible. Penta was getting a push recently. He just had his match with Cody last week, so he's been getting like a little bit of a singles push, whereas Phoenix has been teaming with Pac. But whether Penta and Phoenix are apart, together, against each other, they go for it, and they really, really deliver. And you add Laredo Kid into that, what a trio. So I'm expecting a great match, a high flying match, a match that's going to make you gasp in places between these two teams. And I'm just excited for it. I'm excited to see some great high flying action. And I'm also really want to know where they're going with the Young Bucks here and their characters. So my predictions for the winners, I am going to go with the team of Penta, Phoenix, and Laredo Kid, just because of the story they're telling with the Young Bucks at the minute, where Don Callis has been saying that they're not the Young Bucks that they were in New Japan, which is fair enough, but they are the tag team champions, so you can't knock the guys that much. So I think the Young Bucks taking a loss, even if it's Brandon Cutler who eats the pin, I think works in the storyline. And yeah, a loss for the Young Bucks to me makes sense, especially because you've been doing great things with Penta and Phoenix recently, and I wouldn't want to see them take a pinfall here. And there you have it. That is my preview of this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. Enjoy the show, everyone. Have fun watching. Don't forget to join me on Friday for AEW Weekly, where I'm sure, will have so much to talk about, breaking down all of these matches. Until then, enjoy Dynamite, and I will see you later.